Hello and welcome to the Aligned and Confident Dating Podcast with Colette Gallagher. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to get over a breakup. Tips for moving on fast.
I think we are all ready to get started here today on today's episode of the Aligned and Confident Dating Podcast with me, your host, Colette Gallagher.
So how exciting is this? You know, breakups aren't always the most fun times in our lives. It can cause a lot of pain, heartbreak, and, feelings and hurt, and just a lot of stuff can come up. Feelings of regret, feeling like maybe you didn't work hard enough in the relationship. So many things can come up during a breakup. But it's also an exciting time because you kind of have like a fresh start. And maybe it doesn't feel like that right now, and that's okay. And so what I want to do is just talk about how to really move on quickly from this breakup. And sometimes you need time, and that's okay too. So don't feel like you have to rush and get over this person. Sometimes our well-meaning friends will tell us to get back out there and just hook up so we can forget about them. But all that really does is distract us. We have to get rid of the pain from the root. So let's talk about that. So I've had my share of breakups, and what I've learned is to really give myself that time to grieve. And so usually when I've broken up with somebody in the past, especially if it was a really long relationship, I would just be sad for a good week. I remember I was dating a guy for 2 years that I thought I was going to marry. And when we broke up, I gave myself a few months just to grieve. And again, our well-meaning friends might tell us, hey, get over it. He wasn't good enough. She wasn't good enough anyway. You were too good for them. You guys had all kinds of problems. And it's really well-meaning, but we need to take our own time to process everything. So even though this is tips to get over a breakup fast, don't take it to mean that you shouldn't take that time to process the relationship and the pain and the feelings. Or maybe you're relieved. Some people are relieved when they break up with somebody. So my first tip for how to get over a breakup is to take responsibility for your part. So you want to take responsibility for your part in the breakup of the relationship. It's really, really easy to say, oh, it was all their fault. Even if they were the ones that broke up with you and you didn't want to break up, you still want to take responsibility for what happened. Because there's two people in a relationship, and no matter how much it seems like that other person is to blame for the problems in the relationship, I promise if you really get honest with yourself, you're going to be able to see maybe some places that you could have improved on the relationship, where maybe you could have done something differently. And so the first tip is you really want to take some time to just reflect on the relationship itself and really think back to what happened, what was your part, how were you responsible with being one of the causes of the breakup. And really think about it. Now, don't beat yourself up. This is more of a reflection exercise, not I'm a terrible person, I suck, and I'm never going to find a partner. I'm never going to find love. So it's not that kind of reflecting or blaming yourself. It's more of just thinking about things that you could have maybe done differently, how you can improve for next time, right? Because we learn, we take lessons from relationships, we learn what to do, we learn how to improve, and we move on. So the next tip is to think about the needs that this relationship was fulfilling in your life. So every relationship is based on two people having needs and getting their needs met. So for some people, they had a need to take care of somebody. Maybe you had a need to take care of your partner, or you had a need to feel appreciated, and so your partner fulfilled that need of making you feel appreciated when you're around them. Or maybe your partner was fun, and so they fulfilled that need in your life for having someone to do something with and have fun with. And so when we can think about what needs our partner were fulfilling, then we can seek out ways to get those needs fulfilled by somebody else or by ourselves. So for example, if our partner was fulfilling that need to have fun and adventure with somebody else, maybe we can join a group and meet some new friends, or go out with other friends and do the same thing that we would have done with our partner to get that need fulfilled. So make a list of all of the ways and all of the needs and all of the ways that your ex fulfilled those needs for you. And then see if you can find a way to get those needs fulfilled some other way. And that's really going to help, is if you can figure out what needs your partner was providing for you, and then finding new ways to meet those needs. That's going to really make the heartbreak go away quickly, because you're not going to be looking back thinking, oh man, now I don't have anyone to love, I don't have anyone who appreciates me, or whatever it was. You're not going to be doing that anymore, because you're going to find that need to be met in a different way. Maybe you go volunteer or something if you had that need to, love someone or help people, and you were helping your partner. Now you can go volunteer and get that need fulfilled in that way. So the next thing that you might want to take a look at is, how great was the relationship? So this goes kind of back to taking responsibility for why you broke up, but a lot of times when we break up and it wasn't our idea and we really want to still be with that person, we tend to put on rose-colored glasses to the relationship and think, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. Everything was so amazing. And we fought sometimes, but it wasn't that big of a deal, and so maybe you're putting all this effort into the relationship and you were like, oh, we have our problems, but so does everyone else. And so if you take off those rose-colored glasses and make a list of all the things you didn't like about your relationship. So just, take out a piece of paper, write out the problems that you guys had, and with an open mind, try not to judge it, and just write down the things you didn't like about the relationship. Because if you guys broke up, it's probably because you weren't right for each other for some reason. And so if you're feeling heartbroken, if you can go back and reflect on the problems you had with honesty and make them a big deal, because a lot of times we lie to ourselves and we tell ourselves that things aren't a big deal when they actually are. And we learn this as, a coping mechanism as we're growing up. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal. So start to make all of those problems, all of those things that were wrong with your relationship, start to think of them as a big deal. Like, what if you were with somebody and you didn't have to deal with all of those things? Or not on that scale? What if you can meet somebody else that you don't have those problems or challenges with, and things are way easier? So really getting honest about the relationships, the faults with it, taking off those rose-colored glasses and seeing the relationship and the person for who they really are, and not who you would want them to be or how they were before and then they changed. So not looking at those things, looking at how things really are right before the breakup, and how would you want to be treated differently? So even if, again, this wasn't your idea, the person kind of trailed off and maybe they even ghosted you and just stopped talking to you or something like that, which hopefully they didn't, because that just shows their lack of maturity to be able to handle conflict. So even if they did just straight up stop talking to you, just reflect on that and say, do you really want to be with someone like that? And what if you can find someone else who respected you enough to tell you the truth about, feelings that they were having? The next tip for getting over a breakup fast is to realize that love never actually leaves. So this is something that I learned from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. It's about how love is the best thing ever. Even if it doesn't work out, it's still amazing because it happened. And so even if you're not with that person anymore, all you really have to do is think about a time when you guys were together and you really felt that love for each other. You'll realize it's still inside of you and you can access it at any time. So if you're ever really feeling like you're not loved, go back to the feeling of love. It doesn't hurt, and it doesn't matter if you're not together anymore. You still have all of that love inside of you, and it's never going to go away. Just the fact that you can think of the person and think of the love that you had at one time means that it's always going to be inside of you. So you're not losing anything. You're just going to be transferring that love to a new partner. So the next tip for getting over a breakup quickly is to focus on yourself. So what did you give up? A lot of people give up things when they go into a relationship, especially if you've been dating a while. A lot of people, maybe you stopped hanging out with your friends as much, or maybe you stopped doing your hobbies as much as you used to, or maybe you stopped having fun with a volunteer organization, or things that you used to do that you stopped doing as much because of the relationship. Go back and start doing those things again and having fun again. And I know sometimes that's like the last thing you want to do. You're heartbroken. You just want to crawl into bed and just stay there and cry. And again, totally okay. Do it. And do it for as long as you feel called to. But at the same time, if you really want to get over the person, when you go out and make new memories and have fun with other people and you focus on yourself and having fun and things like that, and journaling is an amazing way to help get over a breakup quickly, because when you journal out all your feelings and thoughts, because maybe you're used to talking to your ex about these things, but if you start journaling all your thoughts and feelings and emotions and your day, then you feel like, you have somebody to talk to. So that's something that I used for a long time. There's like a good year or two where I just felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to. I was single. I felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I journaled. And it made me feel like, even though I was talking to myself, I was journaling, it made me feel like I was getting it off my chest and I could put all my secrets in there, and so it's not like being stored inside of me. So I definitely recommend taking time for yourself, journaling, enjoying your own company, meeting new people, making new memories. That way you realize that you really can have fun without the other person in your life. And so if you're really having a hard time, one thing you can do is, so there's a behavioral therapy technique that you can use if you're really just thinking about this person all the time and you feel like you can't stop thinking about them. Because I know sometimes when we are going through a breakup, our thoughts start to go in circles and you're just thinking about them and all the memories and all their great times. So if this is you, this therapist Deborah Phillips recommends is to count the number of times that you think about the person in a day. And then every single time you start to think about them, yell stop. And this can be in your head, but if you're somewhere like home alone and you can do this out loud, that's even better. So you want to, every single time that you start to think about the person, you just stop and then think about something else. So it's a good idea to have a few things, like a few happy memories that you can go to. So you could take a few minutes and think about, 2 or 3 just really happy memories of a time maybe you went to a really fun party, or you had a really amazing travel experience, or maybe it's something that hasn't actually happened. Maybe you want to win a Grammy and you haven't yet. And so, you can imagine yourself winning this Grammy. And so if you can have 2 or 3 of these things that would make you feel really good when you thought about them, that way, every time you start to think about your ex, you're actually conditioning your brain, reprogramming your brain to not think about your ex anymore. And so you yell stop and then change the thought. And you can actually use this for anything, but it's really helpful for getting over those like nonstop thoughts about the person. So you want to keep track though, so you can see that it's working, because otherwise you might want to change the new thoughts to something even more exciting. So you have your 2 or 3 memories, you write down how often you think about your ex, and you can just take a piece of paper, like a sticky note or just something you can carry in your pocket, and just make a little slash for the day. So if it's Monday and you thought about them, you just take a pen and write it, just one time. And you just take like tally marks for every time you think of your ex. And you might be thinking about your ex 50 times a day right now, and that's okay. So the goal is to just get it down to maybe 1 or 2 or eventually none. So that's if you just really can't stop thinking about the person and you would like a way to actually reprogram your brain with behavior therapy. So that's something you can do. And then you want to write positive things about yourself. So this is especially important if it didn't go well towards the end of the relationship and things were just nasty, because that could happen. So you maybe were fighting all the time and your self-esteem is terrible and you're feeling really bad about yourself. So if you can write down a list of all of your accomplishments and all of the things you like about yourself, and no one's going to see it, so it's perfectly okay to write down everything. And so maybe you love your hair, or maybe you have great teeth, or maybe you love your eye color, or maybe you are a really great reader, you're really smart, or you're really good at a sport. So just reminding ourselves how awesome we actually are can really help get over a breakup, because, you know, if our self-esteem is left in crumbles, we want to rebuild that back up and remind ourselves that we're actually amazing and we're great catches. And maybe it just didn't work out with this person, and that's okay. We can still be amazing and not have it work out with one person and meet somebody else and it works out with that person. So yeah, make that list of all of the wonderful, awesome things that you just love about yourself, love about your life. Maybe you have great friends and you're a really good friend, you're a really great listener. Maybe you're very giving, you give back to the community. And so it's really important to remind ourselves about these things and build our self-esteem back up after a breakup. As part of this, you know, writing out every day things that you liked about yourself, that you did, things you did that you liked, and things that are going well throughout your day. Because again, we want to reprogram our thinking from this breakup mentality of, oh my gosh, I suck, this sucks, the breakup sucks, I'm lonely, I'm sad, and we have these yucky low vibration feelings. We actually want to reprogram those to higher vibration feelings. And it's amazing because we literally can reprogram our brains, and that's something that I help people with, is learning how to literally reprogram your brain, and so you don't keep repeating the same patterns over and over again. And a good therapist can do this too. I'm not a therapist, but I have been through a lot of stuff and I've learned a lot of techniques for how to do this. And so that's what I work with my clients on, my private clients. So if you're looking to really dig deep and understand your behavior patterns and why you do the things you do, and learn different techniques for overcoming these repetitive thoughts, these behavior patterns that keep showing up, really taking a good look at ourselves, at yourself, that's where I help. So feel free to get on my calendar. If you go to my website at ColetteGallagher.com, you can jump on a call with me. We can do an assessment and see where you are as far as relationship patterns and things like that. And also, I would love to have you join my free Facebook group, and I will put a link to that down below. So I really hope that these tips help you get over your breakup fast. I totally have been there. I totally understand how much it sucks to go through a breakup, but I also know how awesome it is when you meet the person that makes it all worth it. When you've done the internal work, when you've done all the things that I recommend in my course, and you come out the other side and things are really, really great. It's all worth it. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys next time.